moments that have resonated through history are the destructions of countries and cultures by warfare.
Victor Davis Hanson, a well-known historian, believes that society may be on the brink of disaster. He points out that throughout history, civilizations have fallen when they stray from important values like unity and following the law. Hanson uses examples from both ancient and modern times to show how easily things can fall apart. Is the end really near, or can we still prevent it? Let us expose this horrifying question that is making all governments around the world pretty nervous. The rise and fall of nations today. One of Hanson's central arguments is that the United States and other contemporary nations might be walking a path that mirrors the downfall of ancient empires. He suggests that complacency and internal divisions weaken societies, making them vulnerable to external threats. Hanson is particularly concerned about what he sees as the erosion of cultural and political values in the West. He highlights issues such as the breakdown of assimilation, the abandonment of shared norms, and the weakening of national borders as signs that modern societies are facing challenges similar to those that led to the decline of Rome, Greece, and other ancient powers. But what chilling warning does Hanson believe could be the final trigger that sends today's nations into a downfall, just like the ancient empires? Stay tuned, because what he reveals next might just change everything you thought you knew. In his view, war and violence have always been inherent aspects of human existence, and civilizations that forget this lesson or become too focused on internal disputes are often caught off guard by more aggressive adversaries. He points to historical examples, such as the sack of Thebes and the fall of Constantinople, to illustrate how quickly societies can collapse when they are unprepared for external threats. Hanson warns that similar dynamics are at play in today's world, where many nations are divided and distracted by internal problems, leaving them unprepared for more significant global challenges. Hanson also draws attention to the role of technology and modern warfare in amplifying the potential for destruction. While in the past, conflicts were often limited by geography and resources, today's globalized world and advanced military capabilities mean that wars can have far-reaching and devastating consequences. He suggests that the potential for global conflict, given the current political and military landscape, is higher than many realize. A significant part of his analysis is rooted in his concern about the weakening of deterrence. He believes that a strong military and a clear willingness to defend national interests are essential to preventing conflicts. However, he argues that in recent years, many Western nations have been unwilling to project strength, which has emboldened adversaries. This loss of deterrence, combined with internal divisions and weakening institutions, creates a dangerous situation where conflicts could escalate beyond control. Hanson's warnings are not just about potential military conflicts, but also about the internal decay of societies. He is critical of what he sees as the rise of tribalism and identity politics, which he believes are eroding the social fabric of nations. He argues that when societies become divided along lines of race, class, or ideology, they lose the unity that is necessary to face external challenges. This division, in his view, creates a fertile ground for both internal strife and external attacks. Throughout his work, he emphasizes the importance of learning from history. He believes that many of the problems facing modern societies are not new, but are part of a recurring pattern that has played out many times before. By studying the past, he argues, we can better understand the forces that lead to the collapse of civilizations and take steps to avoid them. However, Hanson is not optimistic about the current trajectory of many nations, suggesting that without significant changes, they may face the same fate as the empires of old. His insights reflect a broader concern about the direction of global politics and the increasing tensions between major powers. He highlights the rise of authoritarian regimes and the weakening of democratic institutions as key factors contributing to the potential for conflict. In his analysis, these regimes often challenge the international order, testing the resolve of democratic nations. If these challenges are not met with firm responses, Hanson believes that it could lead to a breakdown of the global system that has maintained relative peace since the end of World War II. In addition to military concerns, he is also critical of the economic and cultural policies of many Western nations. He argues that the focus on globalization and the neglect of local industries have weakened national economies, making them more vulnerable to external shocks. Furthermore, he is concerned that the decline of traditional cultural values has led to a loss of identity and purpose in many societies, further contributing to their internal decay. His warnings about the future are not limited to one nation or region. He sees the potential for conflict and collapse as a global issue, with many countries facing similar challenges. His analysis suggests that without a renewed focus on national unity, military preparedness, and cultural cohesion, the world could be headed for a period of unprecedented chaos and destruction. Ultimately, his work serves as a call to action for policymakers, military leaders, and citizens to take the lessons of history seriously. He argues that while the dangers facing modern societies are significant, they are not inevitable. By learning from the past and addressing the underlying issues that lead to conflict, Hanson believes that it is possible to prevent the total collapse of modern civilization. But we have to start changing now, or else humanity as we know it is doomed. While the warnings from the past are worrying, learning about the man behind these ideas may help explain why he believes them so strongly. From farm life to academic heights. Victor Davis Hanson, born in the year 1953, grew up in the farming community of Selma, located in the heart of California's San Joaquin Valley. This region, known for its rich agricultural history, had been home to Victor's family since the late 19th century. His great-grandmother made the long move from Missouri to California in 1871, which began the family's long-standing relationship with the land. By the time Victor was born, his family had been farming there for decades, and these deep agricultural roots influenced every part of his life. From his early years, Victor's life was deeply connected to farming. His family had a tradition of working the land, and this lifestyle was not just about growing crops, but about a way of living and interacting with the community. This upbringing not only provided him with a first-hand understanding of the labor involved in farming, but also ingrained in him values such as hard work, resilience, and the importance of the community. These values would later play a significant role in his writings and academic pursuits. Victor's parents were notable figures in their own right. His mother, Pauline Davis Hanson, was a pioneer in her field, becoming one of California's first female judges. His father, William Frank Hanson, worked in education as a school administrator. Both parents were keen on instilling strong values in their children, pushing them to participate actively in farm work. This exposure to hard labor on the farm taught Victor early lessons about self-reliance and the importance of maintaining traditional values, which were themes he often explored in his later work. Despite the initial intent to pursue a career in law, Victor's academic interest took a significant turn during his time at the University of California, Santa Cruz. It was here that he discovered a profound interest in the classical world, which shifted his career path towards the humanities. He completed his undergraduate studies in classics in 1975, and this was just the beginning of his academic path. He went on to pursue a doctoral degree in the same field at Stanford University, where he completed his PhD in 1980. During his time at Stanford, Victor specialized in Greek and Roman history, with a particular focus on the roles of warfare and agriculture in ancient societies. This niche area of study allowed him to explore the parallels between the ancient and modern worlds, particularly how historical insights could be applied to contemporary agricultural practices. His doctoral thesis laid the groundwork for what would become a prolific career in both academia and writing, often using historical analogies to discuss modern issues. After earning his doctorate, Victor returned to his roots quite literally by taking up full-time farming on his family's land. This return to farming after years of academic study provided him with a unique perspective on the intersection of theoretical knowledge and practical application. Farming gave Victor a deeper appreciation for the challenges and realities of agricultural life, which he often compared to the historical accounts he studied of ancient farmers. His experience on the farm was not just about maintaining crops, but also about understanding the broader social and economic factors that affect farming communities. In the early 1980s, the agriculture sector faced significant challenges, particularly when the price of raisins, a key crop for the region, plummeted. This economic downturn forced Victor to seek additional sources of income, which led him to the academic realm once again. Victor began teaching Latin at California State University, Fresno, and later founded the Classical Languages program there. His dual role as a farmer and an academic provided him with unique insights, which he brought into the classroom. This blend of practical and scholarly perspectives was well received, and in 1991 he was awarded the American Philological Association Excellence in Teaching Award, recognizing his innovative teaching methods and academic contributions. From life on the farm to the world of books, Hanson's path takes a new direction as his thoughts on history and war begin to shape his work. Rethinking ancient war tactics. Throughout his career, Victor challenged many established historical interpretations, particularly regarding ancient warfare. He questioned the commonly held belief that ancient armies systematically destroyed enemy farmland as a war tactic. Using his background in farming, he argued that with the limited agricultural technology of the time, such strategies were not only impractical but also unlikely to be as widespread as historians believed. His groundbreaking work, Warfare in Agriculture in Classical Greece, re-examined these historical assumptions and opened up new discussions about the strategies of ancient warfare. Victor's writings often encouraged a rethinking of historical narratives, using his deep understanding of agriculture to challenge and expand traditional views in classical studies. While working at California State University, Fresno, Victor Davis Hanson pushed his writing career forward. He became known for blending his deep knowledge of classical history with sharp insights into current political and cultural issues. This unique approach caught the attention of a wide audience and led him to shift from academic life to being a public commentator. By the early 2000s, Hanson had made a name for himself as a public intellectual, publishing his thoughts in well-known publications and often speaking out on topics related to war, politics, and society. Hanson's background growing up in a rural farming community and his academic focus heavily influenced his viewpoints. He often voiced his concerns about what he saw as a fading of traditional values and a weakening of Western cultural roots. His life on the farm and his studies of ancient civilizations convinced him of the need to embrace values like hard work, self-control, and reverence for history. He frequently spoke about his belief that there's a growing gap between the cultural elites and the common people they supposedly serve. This contrast between the simple, hard-working lives of ancient farmers and today's urban leaders is a recurring theme in his work. After almost 20 years of teaching, Hanson left CSU Fresno in 2004 to dedicate himself to writing and political commentary. This new focus allowed him to reach even more people, writing books and essays on topics ranging from military history to immigration and the decline of cultural values. His 2001 book, Carnage and Culture, explores why Western military forces have often been victorious over non-Western opponents, a topic that became especially relevant following the events of September 11th. This book helped cement Hanson's status as a key voice in military history discussions. Beyond his writing, Hanson has held important roles in various conservative academic and political organizations. Since 2004, he has been a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution at Stanford University and has been involved with several foundations, including the Bradley Foundation. His political opinions have shifted over the years, especially following significant events like the Iraq War and the global fight against terrorism. Although he was initially critical of some foreign policies of the neoconservatives, the attacks of 9/11 led him to strongly support military actions, arguing that the Western way of life needs to be actively defended. Throughout his career, Hanson has stayed closely connected to his farming roots. He still lives on his family's farm in Selma, California, where he often ponders the shifts in both agriculture and broader society he has witnessed. His writings regularly touch on themes of decline and rebirth, utilizing his dual perspective as a farmer and historian to delve into the perpetual struggles of human societies. Today, Victor Davis Hanson is still a significant figure in public discussions, noted for his skill in linking the lessons of the ancient world with modern-day challenges. His contributions have been acknowledged with numerous awards, and he continues to write on a range of topics from classical history to contemporary political issues. In all his work, Hanson emphasizes the critical importance of maintaining the cultural and intellectual traditions that have historically underpinned Western civilization. As we explore the ideas of great thinkers, we can't ignore the many predictions of the world ending. Could the next one be near? Predictions of the world's end. Throughout time, many predictions about the world ending have grabbed people's interest. These forecasts, often tied to religious, star-based, or thoughtful ideas, have sparked a lot of worry, panic, and even big group actions. Some standout cases stretch back ages, from old thoughts to newer alerts. One early end-of-world forecast came from Beatus of Libana, a monk from Spain who predicted Christ's return in the year 793. This prediction pulled in a huge crowd, but when nothing occurred, people's fears calmed down, though not for long. In the following centuries, more similar forecasts kept popping up. For instance, Sextus Julius Africanus, a Christian historian, first thought the world would end in 500 AD. He later changed this to 800 AD, causing a buzz among early medieval Christians. The year 1000 AD caused a big scare across Europe, as many thought it marked 1,000 years since Christ was born, signaling the end. This fear was so strong that Pope Sylvester II and other religious leaders worked to soothe the crowds. When this year went by quietly, new ideas came up, with some saying the end would come 33 years later, the length of Christ's life. Jumping ahead to the late Middle Ages, Pope Innocent III thought the world would end 666 years after Islam started. His math pointed to the year 1284. But like other predictions before, this year came and went without the world ending. Similarly, the Black Death in the 14th century sparked fears that the end was near. With lots of death and suffering, many saw the plague as a divine punishment and a clear sign that the world's end was close. In 1524, a group of star readers in London said a huge flood would wipe out humanity. This idea, based on stars lining up, caused a big panic in the city. Thousands moved to higher ground, leaving their homes. However, no flood happened. Around the same time, Johannes Stoffler, a German star reader, gave similar warnings based on planets lining up in Pisces. Despite his warnings, no disasters happened. The 17th century saw its own end-of-world beliefs. Sabbatai Zevi, a Jewish mystic, said the Messiah would come in 1648, marking the world's end. When this didn't happen, he changed the date to 1666, a year already causing fear because of its link to the mark of the beast. The Great Fire of London and a deadly plague outbreak that year added to the fears. By the 18th century, different places had their own end-time scares. In 1780, New England was covered in darkness during what's known as the Dark Day. Although later explained by forest fires and fog, many at the time thought it was a sign of coming judgment. People across the region panicked, with some joining religious groups that promised safety. In the 19th century, a notable event was the rise of the Millerite movement. William Miller, a Baptist preacher, said Christ would return in 1843, marking the end of the world. His followers, the Millerites, sold their things and got ready for the second coming. When the predicted day went by, Miller set a new date for 1844. This too failed, leading to what's known as the Great Disappointment. Many left the movement, though some later formed the Seventh-day Adventist Church. As science and tech moved forward, new end-of-world predictions popped up, often linked to star events. One famous case happened in 1910 with Halley's Comet's return. Some thought the comet's tail had a deadly gas that could end life on Earth. Even with top astronomers calming fears, panic spread, with people buying gas masks and comet pills in a desperate try to protect themselves. Rooftop parties were also common, as people gathered to watch the comet and wait for what might happen. Luckily, Earth went through the comet's tail safely. Could Victor Davis Hanson be right about society nearing its collapse, or is this just another alarmist warning we've heard before? Is there still time to reverse the damage, or are we too far gone? Tell us what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.